Alright boys, we just got back from some data logging. So I was driving around today and I was just logging my intake air temps with the AFE intake. Mind you, I've already done this once before and it's winter time, so it's like 68 degrees outside, and what my nominal intake air temps is right now is about 98 degrees. So that's roughly 30 over ambient while we're driving around the streets. I'm talking about like side streets with traffic lights and stuff. And as you can see right here, this is an enclosed air box. And the enclosed air box covers the filter, and there's a snorkel that goes all the way to the front of the car. So essentially this is just sucking in ambient air temp. But once it gets into the piping, this box right here gets a little warm from the engine bay, and then the intercooler heat soaks a little bit with the charge pipes. Now you're sucking in, 30 over ambient. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install the HPS intake on here, which is the open element without the air box, and see if it makes a huge difference in winter time. I've done this before, and the general consensus was when you're in, traffic, this does better, but when you're actually moving, it makes no difference. But the difference is, on my take, is this mutes the cool swishy and intake noise, while the HPS sounds really cool and swishy. So let's swap it out real quick. To remove this intake, it's actually easy. Remove the braces on both sides, and then we can take out the air box. The Genesis, I tell ya, is the easiest car that I've worked on that's modern. Most modern cars are total pain in the butt. Mind you, I've done the catalytics on this thing and it was actually quite easy. So these are by Burger Motorsports, or BMS, and they're the people that created JB4. These things are awesome because it's titanium. These things, I mean the bolts. Look at that. Ooh, beautiful. So put those guys there, pop this off, and then we're just going to put this aside right here. I don't want to drop anything, so we'll keep this nice. I try to keep things nice. So we put a bag over these because I don't want to scratch the titanium. And I know people will be like, oh my gosh, it's just a car. Well, they're the type of people that have cars that aren't really nice, and when you see them at car events, you can tell. So yeah, this is my daily, but I still take care of it like it's a freaking show car, because that's just me. I'm not saying that you can't beat up your car. I do have a car that I beat up on, that's the Integra, and I don't care about that as much. So when you see me work on my Integra, I'm not putting bags over titanium like my lug nuts. They're titanium, but I could care less. Okay, now once you have that, next thing is we need to remove the bolts that go down here, which is pretty easy because you need an extension with a swivelly, this guy, and then this guy. I've done this so many times already. I've removed and reinstalled this intake more often than I could count. Why? Because I like testing, and everyone's always like, cold air intake is better, closed air box is better because you don't suck in heat from the engine bay. Yes and no. And I've proven this time and time again, that on this car specifically, I'm not sure about other cars, it doesn't make much of a difference as far as air intake temps. With the air box and without an air box, they run pretty similar air intake temperatures once you're really moving. So again, to recap, if you guys didn't pay attention earlier, I was just driving with this air box right now, and I was sucking in about 30 over ambient. So if it's 60 degrees outside, this thing's sucking in 90 degree air. All right, and that's stop and go traffic, not on the freeway. On the freeway, with air box, without air box, very similar results. So got the clamps down here. Should be an 8mm, I think. There you go, easy peasy. And then one clamp right here. I took this off way too soon. This is for the filter itself. Totally unnecessary to use a power tool for this, but it is easy. Pop that off, pop this off, hold the clamp so you don't drop it into oblivion. And there you go. Look how easy that was to remove the AFE intake. Probably one of the best designed intakes for the Genesis. Small, flares up to big. Does it make more power? I don't think so. We've already dynoed the differences. There are no differences. But it's nice. It's designed like the OE. So if you guys want like an OE quality piece, the AFE is the best air intake if you want the OE style everything. So freaking good, dude. But it just doesn't make cool noises like the HPS. So we're gonna take this off and then benchmark it again. There are 2 bolts that you can't see, one on this side and one on this side over here, and it's just a 10 mil. So I'm just gonna remove this while it's in here, and we should be Gucci. Dude, this intake is like the best designed intake for this car, I tell you. If only it made all the cool noises, that would be like the best possible intake setup for these cars. G70 Stinger, same thing. They use the same products as far as like the charge pipes, the intakes, and the down pipes. And there you go. That's it. The 2 bolts go right here and right here. And then that's 1 airbox. Isn't that crazy how easy that was? Look at that. The baby turbos are right here. Look how tiny these turbos are. Look at that. These turbos are actually smaller than my Miata turbos. I'm not sure if you guys knew that, but there you go. Now we'll do the same thing on the other side and then put the HPS filter back on. I've reinstalled and installed this filter so many times. This is the intake setup right here for the HPS. And I got my own filters. These are velocity stacks basically with foam cones. And then these right here, that's just like the HPS filter. Pretty simple, but since it's aluminum, it makes a lot of swooshy noises. First, we gotta put these guys back on. These are the little snorkels from the factory. And you have to remove them for the AFE setup. But for the HPS, you don't actually need to remove them. You can use them. Alrighty, put these guys back. And then we can do the filters. For the HPS, you got to put these little bumper things right here. These like rubber isolators. That's where the intake box mounts onto, or the small intake box that they come with. Here's the next heat shield. Pop this guy on. It's kind of tricky to find this bolt location. There you go. And then just make sure this one's on as well. And then you just got to flex things around as you need it. So I'm just gonna use this. I find the impact so much more useful for this, so you don't twist anything. Yeah, see, if you're trying to tighten this with a ratchet, you'll twist it because it's so wonky. So a little bit of this is not too bad. There you go. Got your air box, nicely set. Oh, let me just see if I can push this in more. Can I push this in more? As much as I could get, I guess. Alrighty. Next, I'm going to take the intake pipe and then route it through here. We have the gardeners walking in right now. Perfect timing. Every time I record outside, the gardeners always come. It's like the best thing ever. Pop this guy right here, and then you just tighten it up. We can't tighten this up though until we put the filter on, because I need to know clocking. So we'll pop this side too. Okay, so this is, which way do I have that? I need to flip this way. Consistency, baby, consistency. So pop this in here as well. There you go. I'm gonna twist this clamp so it's not in the way. There you go, there you go, there you go. Yeah, come on. Yeah, there you go. Nice. Now we'll take our filter and we'll just mock it up on here to see how we need to position this. So This is always the crappy part, because the filter sometimes doesn't want to stay in the angle that I like, depending on how that right there is tightened. So don't tighten everything yet until you have the filter positioned and you're happy with everything. Okay. Beautiful. Then we're gonna use a vacuum cap for that clamp so I don't poke myself when I'm working on the car. See that? I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but looks rather nice and everything's secured. Just gonna pop on the tower braces and we are done, baby. That easy. So pop these on, then we'll just torque these to like 35 foot-pounds. Yes, the gardeners are still here. My favorite dudes ever. This guy right here. Okay. If you guys are gardeners and you're following my channel, can you guys stop blasting cars with dust? I'm not saying everyone does that, but yo, the gardeners next door, they do that. It's the most annoying thing ever. All right, and there we go. We are done. What we gotta do is do a little drive and data log. Nice. Give it a little shake, make sure everything's good. Okay. If you guys are curious if you really need to torque these things, ooh, I almost dropped that guy. No, you don't. But you guys already know me. I like everything to be done right. Nice. Beautiful. And this guy right here. Nice. Ready.